Hello, this is Andrea St. Amand. How do you go from burn out to burn in? And by burn in, I mean passion. How do you go from a life where you're totally burned out to a life where you're passionate and you're jumping out of bed every day, every morning, and you're just so excited that it's Monday morning, you can't wait. So I got triggered on this topic because I read either yesterday or this morning, in the New York Times, there's these little tips for smarter living, and I get them emailed to me, and sometimes they just annoy me to death because they're inane. So one of them said, how to avoid burnout, or how to solve burnout, how to recover from burnout. You know, it's kind of spring. We all have spring fever right now. We don't want to be sitting in the office. We don't want to be sitting at work. We want to be outside, or we want to be doing something different. So the tips were, take a coffee break in the afternoon, or just an impromptu afternoon off, and then you're recharged and you're ready to go back to work the next day, and you're all excited about it. And I was like, if a coffee break is going to recharge you, that's not burnout. And I get it. I love it. If folks are living a life where they just need a quick coffee break or an afternoon off, and then they are recharged to go back to their job, that's fantastic. But for folks who are really in burnout, for me, when I was in burnout, an afternoon off does not recharge you, or a coffee break does not recharge you. It certainly did not recharge me, because burnout, real burnout, looks and feels horrible. It means you are absolutely drained. Nothing is recharging you. And for me, in fact, I started having physical effects from that, because I was sitting in the same spot every day, and I was so tense that I literally had all my muscles in here like tensed up. I felt like I couldn't even breathe very well all the time, and I had this real tightness on my chest. That was burnout. I mean, there would be times when I would barely turn my head to my door, and all my muscles in here would just like snap and freeze up. And that was miserable. I mean, I was literally just so miserable. That is burnout. An afternoon off does not solve that kind of burnout. And every time I say the word burnout, I get a mental image in my head of a skillet on the stove that is, where you've cooked something to death. You've just got all this burned food ash that's now stuck to the skillet, or a coffee pot, the glass coffee pot, and the coffee is burned and stuck to the pot. That is what I feel. That's like the visual image of us when we're in serious burnout. And that's how we're showing up for our lives. So when you're like that, when we have a skillet that's burned or a coffee pot that's burned, we don't keep cooking on it. And yet when in our lives, when we're burned out, we do tend to keep going. We can tend to just stay where we are. And why do we do that? Why did I do that? Why did I keep staying where I was? Well, the thing that I hear the most from people, and the thing I was telling myself, was why I had to keep staying in burnout, was that, wow, I really need this job. I really need this money. I need this income. Well, guess what? That job in my state did not need me. And if you are in a state of burnout, you are showing up at work, or you are showing up to your kids or to your husband or to your friends as a burnt skillet, or as that burnt coffee pot. That's no way to show up. That's not fair to anybody around you. That is not why you were hired for that job. That's not why the clients hired you. That's not why your coworkers are bringing you onto their team. You're showing up in a complete state of burnout that is not fair to anybody around you. So what do we do with the skillet? And what do we do with the coffee pot? We wash it. We wash it. We just stick it in the sink. We do whatever it takes to do when it's really burned and stuck on there. Maybe we have to get out the Brillo pad. Maybe we have to let it soak. So what do we do? How does that look in our own lives? How does human beings, we can't just throw ourselves in the sink and wash ourselves off and now we're done with burnout. How do we solve burnout? The first thing we do is we have to make room. We have to stretch. We have to create room in our life so more energy can flow in, inspiration can flow in, creativity can flow in, more money can flow in. And what does stretching look like? Stretching means, because most of the time people are like, I can't get a different job because I need this one. Or it might not be your job that's causing burnout. It might be your whole family situation, because your energy is just going toward kids and school and soccer practice and job, and then your husband and all this other stuff. you have to create space in that environment. You have to get resourceful. And that is a word I want all of you all to own and stick it in your gut and use it every day for yourself. Get resourceful in your life. And by getting resourceful, that means you are stretching. You expand. So you create space for new things, new experiences, a new way of living to come in. Now, creating space, stretching, is it scary? Yeah, it can be. Some fears can really come up with that. But that fear can be turned into exhilaration, to anticipation, because you don't know what is coming next, but you're going to start making room for miracles. You're going to start making room for change. You're going to start making room for creativity. So I'm going to give you an example of what this looks like, because sometimes it doesn't take much of a stretch, but any stretch at all sometimes is really scary. Sometimes it doesn't take much of a shift, but it has dramatic impact, dramatic results. So for me, from my life, I started, my degree is in English as an undergrad. Then I went to law school, and then I worked in a law firm. And then I stopped that, and I tried to write some novels and sell them, and that didn't work. And then now I'm doing storytelling, and I do readings. And this seems like, man, there's like all this like jumping around and moving and doing different things. But there's actually not. And the funny thing is, it just hit me yesterday. There is one common thread throughout everything, that each time I changed careers or each time I moved to something different did require a stretch, but the core of my passion stayed the same. As an English major, I actually majored in Gothic literature. So I wrote papers, and I have a degree in vampires and all the things that go bump in the night, all those fantastical, imaginative things. And then when I became a lawyer, I was not the courtroom lawyer standing up talking. I was the person that was sitting in the office where people would come dump boxes on me and say, figure out the story. How are we going to take this incredibly complicated, dry case and prop it up for a jury and make a jury care? That story, that is, trust me, it takes fantastical storytelling to turn an accounting fraud case into something that the jury is going to care about. And I did that. We got a $360 million verdict based on a story that I wrote, and the jury walked out of there crying. It was really compelling storytelling, and it required lots of imagination. And then going from that to writing and really understanding story from a commercial aspect, and then telling stories now for a living. And then readings, I'm giving you your soul story. So to me, all of those, there's not much of a shift there. It is a stretch to use what I love and my skills in different avenues, but the same is probably the case for you. The same is probably digging down, getting like what your passion is, which you might not even know what your passion is, and that's totally cool. If you work with me, we'll figure it out. But getting that and then just stretching enough to allow room for shift and space to come in, where you can move and find your passion, where you're finding and you're actually living every day in that state of burning desire, burning passion. So you're not showing up for work, you're not showing up for your kids, you're not showing up for your whole life as that burnt skillet, as that burnt coffee pot. You're showing up clean and sizzling and ready to go. So I implore you not to wait one more minute, because life is way too short to be showing up every place burned out. And you can make the shift. You don't have to do it alone. Talk with me. You can call me. Calling me is free. I don't charge by the hour like I used to. There's no billable hours in this game. So call me, talk to me. Let's like get you shifted and stretched into exhilaration. Let's get some room in your life for new energy, more money, more imagination. And you don't have to do it. You don't have to do it by yourself. Just take one little step. So I look forward to hearing from you. I look forward to seeing any of you all who are watching this. If you've already done that shift, post it below. Let us know your success stories. If you're needing help, ask for it. Let's get you burning, sizzling. All right, guys. Bye.